You are listening to Shameless Stories, and I'm Nicola Humber, founder of the Unbound Press, soul-led publishing company for magical women writing world-changing books. And we are delighted to be the sponsor of this podcast. So enjoy, magical one.
Welcome to another episode of Shameless Stories, the podcast that lifts the lid on shame and everything that is related to it. And I'm so excited to introduce you to my special guest, Lizzie Moult, who is joining me. We met in London not in London. What am I talking about? We met in Birmingham at the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival, where we both stood on the midlife wisdom stage and talked about stuff, right?
Without our shoes on, by the way, both of us.
Without our shoes on. So Lizzie, you're a spiritual teacher, but you also kind of hold space for women's circles and things like that. And you're Australian, but you're living up in the Highlands.
Scottish Highlands, yeah. Very far from home.
Yeah, just before we came on, we did to compare my view, and Lizzie's wins hands down.
Lochs and mountains are plenty, yes.
I love that though, because that's, effectively, it's just, that you want to live somewhere with a good view. I think that is shameless in itself,
100%. I think the older and wiser I've become, I've realized how important my environment is. I think I've always known I'm a country girl from Australia, so I've always had big wide open spaces, but yeah,
I still can't work out why you're over here, and because I would love to go to Australia. Check it out.
Well, it's hot.
And is it like Bluey? That's what I want.
So Bluey is actually, a lot of the TV show is based on where I met my husband, in a little area of Brisbane in Australia. Oh. And so whenever I watch it with the kids and some of the shows, I'm like, it's so this is this is my 20s, but obviously without children. But the places, I'm like, that's where we used to have a barbecue. I've totally snogged my husband there. The house on the hill, I'm like, I used to live in one of those. Yeah.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. I'd love to go and have a little whistle stop tour of where Bluey's imagination came from.
Brisbane. I'll give you a lot of hints, but yeah, that's stomping ground. So Bluey for us is a staple.
Oh yeah, I love it. And I mean, it's funny talking about that particular TV program, because just before we came on, we were talking about our kids and how boundaries and all the things that come up with being a parent. But I guess having a TV show like Bluey that is actually a lot more conscious than some of the stuff, certainly even my eldest consume. We have Peppa Pig and it's not conscious at all.
No. I'm pretty sure someone was called a roly-poly person, and I was like, yes. No.
She's not the kindest kid. But yeah, it kind of goes into the whole, we were talking about people pleasing and how there is a layer of shame that goes with, shame is an external emotion, effectively. Shame is created in our bodies by external forces around us. Other people create that emotion within us, and people pleasing is probably top of that list, right?
Oh, I think all of us, there's that expectation of not letting somebody else down. And even I guess, for a lot of people who watch Bluey, there's a level of expectation of what it is to be a parent these days. To me, it's wholesome parenting. I'm like, it's fantastic. Everyone should watch this. Everyone should be like Bluey's dad, Bluey's mom, the life lessons. Great. But again, there's we can feel expectation. And then if we're not living up to that, we're then letting people down. And that's the people pleasing bit that that's
the shame
that comes through. It's the shame, right?
Bluey's one of those things. I'm watching it going, I'm not like that, mum. Oh my god, I feel awful. I get mum guilt tiny bits of mum guilt around it, but it's actually, like you say, it's it's becoming the blueprint of how you should parent, and if you're not doing it in that way, then you must be doing something wrong.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussions, and also obviously, so I've been over here for almost 4 years now, and hearing people now talk about, you know, Bluey's parents, and oh, there's so much we can learn from it, yet yes, they don't apply it. But I don't know if people all feel guilt about how they parent. Well, actually, I feel like we all do. But comparing is the crux of like, well, if I can't do that, or I'm not that person. Like there's one episode, the mum starts dancing wildly. I'm like, piece of cake. But I know from experience running events in Scotland, like I don't run dance anymore in my events because majority of the group, a lot of the time, is so uncomfortable dancing. You know, it's just not culturally done as such, you know. Yes, we all like to dance, but we like to do it in our own space and our own time. So then therefore, like again, expectations, like, oh, if I don't dance at Liz's event, like, oh, like I could be letting her down. I'm like, it's not that. Like, this is about you expressing yourself how you need to. So yeah, people pleasing is challenging. Boundaries is like the thing that we all need to do with it. But when it comes to the people we love, I often find they're the hardest ones for us to like set boundaries with.
Yeah, totally. It's and it's the, I guess the thing that I've like, talking back to the dancing piece, talking back to some of the conversation we just had before we came on, was around like play dates and the wordings around like when you're like organized fun, like control. And I guess I don't know whether it's the word and the assertions that like the connection that people have to that word. Again, like I've had people come on and go, oh, like shame, the word shame in itself brings up so much for people, in that
it's icky, right?
It does feel yeah,
it's like you have to confess to like your most embarrassing moment ever. It's confessing that something happened that maybe still hurts today.
Yeah, but I guess it's like it's that moment in time, like this one tiny moment, like that has that affects everything. Like you talked about a situation with your daughter where boundaries had been put in place and the other person didn't like the boundary, and then I mean, and you could talk about anybody in this situation. It doesn't have to be your child. It, like if you put a boundary in place and someone doesn't like that boundary and then they go and respond in a way, you know, they don't like it, do you go back to that person and go, oh, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to put that boundary in place, please come over it? Who's being shameful then? Like, are you like,
I just want to say, how many of us have actually done that? Hands up. Yes.
Yeah. Most people,
right?
Yeah, well, my boundary is here. Oh no, actually it's here. No, it's here. It's here. It's
here. Yeah. That's the thing. So like, I'm just going to share a little story, and you're going to have to make sure that I tie it back to this. My most shameful moment is when I was told at a party in my like mid to late 20s. I think actually I was about 26. And I just come back from living here in the UK, back to Australia. And I remember being told by somebody who'd I'd met a couple of times at parties, but wasn't really, really connecting with as a friend. And this group that I lived with, in this house that I lived with, it was like the first time in my life where I'm like, oh my God, these are my people. Finally. It just seems like everyone was so accepting and just like, it's all good, Liz, you're a bit wild, we love it. And I'm like, and they celebrated it, and I believe that they celebrated. But this girl, she comes up and she's like totally drunk as possible. And she's like, you know what, Liz? No one likes you like proving that you've done X, Y, and Z. Like every single time someone tells a story, you have a better one. You don't need to prove yourself. No one likes it. Instantly. I was like, shit. Okay. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm from the country. Like, it's currency. Every story is about people coming together, gathering, learning, and exchanging like lessons in life, because that's what we did. So it's not about being better. It was more about like, that's what I understood and I knew. And then, yeah, she's like, no one likes it. You shouldn't have to do it. And so as a stupid 26-year-old, I took that as no one likes you. Oh, crap. I can't be me anymore. This group of people who I thought was me and liked me and accepted me no longer did. And that was really painful. So from there, like I set some like, there's two sorts of boundaries. There's internal boundaries and there's external boundaries. So I decided to set a whole bunch of internal boundaries, which was I'm no longer drinking it ever again, because I would hate to say something I shouldn't.
Yeah.
2, I'm never going to share any of my stories about traveling or experiences at a party ever again. I'm going to make sure that, you know, like I'm on the edges, as opposed to being the crazy Liz who would walk into a party late and just be like, right, let's start dancing and having a great time. And I took all that away because I was like, I can't be that person anymore. So those were internal boundaries that I set, not even external ones with other people. And I went and broke them a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, but if I just do this thing, like you'll like me then, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if I
agree.
Yeah, like as much as like my daughter's thing is great, that story and that experience, like I think we learn our own life lessons. My daughter, like I'm there to give her guidance in those life lessons and what to do when someone doesn't respect your boundaries, in her case. But that comes from a mother who at 25 thought that there was no one on this planet who actually cared. From somebody who wasn't even in her friend circle.
Yeah, one person, isn't it? Why do we always let the one
moment,
the one person, the one moment change the course of our trajectory? Why do we not focus on the majority of those people that were having the best time with the most authentic Lizzie?
I know. And here's the thing, so many of them love authentic Lizzie. It's just taken like a bloody long time to find it again.
Yeah.
And to be that again. I remember getting a speaking gig again, because I'm like, there's roots of speaking. And I went and signed up with a lady in America to find my story, because I was like, I don't have any stories. And I worked out that it had been 12 years since I'd actually told a real story, because I'd stopped myself from sharing my own personal experiences with others because I thought it was wrong.
So that's just, for people that are listening, I suspect people will be nodding, because I know I am. I think we've all had moments in the past where we have dimmed, stopped shining, shrunk, because we've dared to be something. We've dared to be ourselves, and somebody else who isn't being themselves, isn't being true to themselves, has effectively, I like to call it like a water balloon. Like they've just basically just, you know, thrown a bucket of water over your light, effectively, or candle blower outer. That's the other analogy, isn't it? I love an analogy. But effectively, there are people around who go around snuffing other people's candles out, but I can guarantee you the person that would have probably done it to that person would have either been a parent or somebody else that they really cared about. So we're constantly doing that to each other. And it kind of, you just want to stop people from doing that. And like my daughter, she'll say, like, I'll be dancing around being silly mummy, like, don't embarrass me, mum. It's like, mate, if you don't like me for who I am, we're in trouble. Like, I know I can be a bit of a wally, but you like, she's already shrinking herself because of school, because of her friends, because they're trying to fit in. And I understand that being at school, there is an element you're learning how to fit into a society. And, there are kids that find it really, really hard to do that. And I think normal children find that really hard. It does, like the school system doesn't fit anymore, the same way as perhaps 9 to 5s don't fit for everybody anymore. The way that people are now breaking out of these draconian kind of, we work in this kind of time frame. I feel like people are now trying to please themselves more. And I think anybody that's stepping out of that whole kind of design of life is either being looked at like, you're weird, you're crazy, like, what are you doing, like, why can't and whereas it's an unsafe place to be.
I'm going to use, can I butt in for a quick moment? What used to happen to the kids, like, just, we're from, I feel like, the same generation here. What happened to the kids who used to speak up in your class?
Well, yeah, they'd get told to be quiet or go and stand outside.
Right, because they broke the rules.
Yeah, effectively.
Right? We're now still breaking rules. So if you don't parent the same as somebody else's parent, or like you're not parenting like Bluey's, you're breaking the rules.
Yeah.
If you don't work 9 to 5, you're breaking the rules. If you have a dance party at the supermarket in aisle number 5, because your chocolate's just been restocked and you're like, this is the best day ever, you're breaking the rules.
Well, we're going back to that organized fun piece again.
Yeah, because fluidity and unknown, we like unknown. It's that safe. But that's the thing, as you said, like, there's an element, no one wants to get in trouble. And that's the thing, for people pleasers, you're just like, that fear of not being in trouble is so real. But at the end of the day, like, in order to set a boundary, you have to break the rules. Because it's like, what you believe and understand might not necessarily be your truth. So therefore, it's that self-investigation. So you can, go, well, this is what's right for me. And if wearing sparkly sequins every day makes me happy, why can't I live and wear them? I need to break the rules.
Yeah.
I need to break the rules that in my head that I understood that when I went to work, I had to wear a suit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like so tricky. People pleasing it's shame. 100%, because it is that dimming. We squash every little smithereen out of ourselves if we don't live up to someone else's expectations, or we could let them down, or worrying about whatever.
I think that's it, isn't it? It's the, like, it reminds me of a story that I had in corporate. And basically what had happened is I kind of had my spiritual awakening, and I was doing Reiki and I was doing all the things, but I was also in a 9 to 5. Well, it wasn't 9 to 5 actually, but anyway, it was my corporate which is not 9 to 5. It is 9 to whatever time is deemed acceptable for you to go to sleep, in some respects. But I'm hugely grateful for the experience, I may add. But effectively, I had a hair dye accident, and I had dyed my hair, kind of my bleach had gone orange, and I was like, oh God, what am I going to do? So I ended up going to the hairdressers, and luckily I was working for a business that had home. We were working from home. So even then we were like breaking the rules. This is before the pandemic. So we were working from home. And what was really interesting is there were a lot of people that around me that were going, oh, so you're off today? No.
Breaking the rules, she's skiving.
Actually working from home. Like I sit at my desk all day, and yes, I can put the washing on, but I was working from home. So it's so interesting because before the pandemic, even my husband used to go, are you off today? No, it's your job. I'm sitting in front of the laptop doing it. Anyway, that's another story entirely. This particular one, I luckily was working from home, was able to get a quick appointment to get my hair done. And I rocked up into the office the next day with purple hair, not orange. And my boss took one look at me and was like, what? I hope you're going to dye that back.
Broke the rules.
Broke the rules big time.
People please's worst nightmare. You're now in trouble. What did you do?
It didn't matter that I was wearing a black suit. I was
outrageous
and purple hair. And it sounds so ridiculous now because, you know, I'm surrounded by people that color their hair, that have tattoos, that have piercings. And I remember when my first, like, even when I worked in a corporate environment when I was like 20, I'd had my nose pierced at the weekend. I was like, oh, getting my nose pierced. And yet again, the suit that I worked with or reported into is like, well, I hope you're going to get rid of that because that's not acceptable. So it's really interesting because now, obviously, I think it's amazing that people are able to be themselves so much more. And, the experience a few years ago has had a big hand in that, I think, because people grew their hair out, they got tattoos, people explored a bit more with themselves. They stopped people pleasing or externally on the surface. But I do think
we're scared of judgment, though.
There is still the judgment piece because
that's the thing. In your story you just shared, like the amount of judgment like you received, like, oh, you've got purple, you should dye that, got a nose ring, what are you doing with that? Like, we're constantly being judged
all the time. And women in particular, I think, feel that quite a lot.
We've got a lot to live up to.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't help that I worked in the PR department and they used to refer to us as the glitter and colouring pens department because we were doing the fun, creative stuff. And it's fascinating because I feel like the people that are slinging those pebbles at your door are the people that really want to be doing the colouring and the glitter and dyeing their hair purple.
It took me, I'm just going to say, probably 20 years to like understand that.
I think I'm still understanding. Like, I think I'm going to be going, like, it's funny. There's this whole write a letter to your 90-year-old self from your 90-year-old self or to your 90-year-old self. And I'm like, I think I'm still going to be fucking piecing it all together.
Nah. If I'm like, yeah. I'll be complaining. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you do this? You knew better.
You should have kept dyeing your hair purple. You should have got the eyebrow piercing that you really, really want.
Yeah. Because what's worse, the regret of doing it and the consequences, or the regret of not doing it?
Well, it goes back to your point about the girl that told you to, your stories didn't matter. That was judgment.
Oh, absolutely. That's the thing. Like, for a lot of people pleasers, we're so scared of judgment because we're not good enough. We're not living up to somebody else's expectation or of what they see us to be. Like, I'm from rural Australia, so when I say that, like, think farm, think cows, think paddocks and acres of things growing. You woke up and you started the day working. You know, being a young girl, like that was the lifestyle. Like it didn't matter if I was a girl or not, like hard work, storytelling instilled. So for someone to take that away from you, and a quality that, you know, other people admire so much.
Yeah.
And like, wow, Liz, that's such a great story. Tell me more about blah, blah, blah. Like that was happening at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, one judgment of like, are you serious? Like, I don't understand this. So the only piece that I heard was no one likes it equals no one likes you. So even doing those bold things, like I've, you know, I got my ears pierced at 35. 35, I know, it's a big deal. I was watching MasterChef Australia, by the way. It's fantastic compared to the UK version. There's a lady who always wears these fabulous earrings. I'm like, just sitting there. I was judging her. I'm like, she flicks them about. I'm like, every time I'm like, they're so fancy and so good, so dangly and big and colorful. I was like, fuck it. I want that. Why didn't I get my ears pierced earlier? Because when I was 10, I was told no, because there was a TV show. Actually, you guys watched that, Home and Away.
Yeah.
There was a girl with 3 on one side and 2 on the other. I didn't want just one, mum. I wanted 2 and 3 on this side. No. I think I asked 3 times and I was like, okay, done. No's no. You know, like that was it. So it took me 35, like to 35.
No, wait. Well, you know, a similar story. I got my first tattoo when I was 40.
I like how you hesitated. I'm like,
well, I was thinking, I was like, I think I did know, because I had my kids when I was 35 and 38. And then I was like, do you know what? Not only like there was an element of parental tattoos are, you know, tramp stamps and all of that back in the 90s. And it's like, oh, no, I don't think I could cope with the pain. And I'd kind of talked myself out of it. And then I was like, do you know what? Fuck it. I've had 2 children.
It can't hurt as much as that.
Yeah, I can fucking have a tattoo.
Same threshold is good.
Yeah. So I didn't just stop at 1. I had like 6.
Wow. See, I've still not got any, and I'm actually really glad that I don't, which is funny. And like, I admire anyone who's got them, and I love artwork, and I love like some of the stories that each one has. But I'm like, I'm gonna be the 90-year-old that doesn't have one, because I've got the stories instead of the, like, I don't need to show people them. I can tell them the story, if that makes sense.
I think that's what's beautiful about them, is that you can, and when you're a bit older, you can really think about what it is you want to leave as your legacy. And I think that's another thing around the people pleasing, and like the work that we do in the storytelling is stories are a legacy. Like we're either inspiring people through telling our stories, we're empowering people through our stories, or, you know, we're creating connection. And I think that I feel really sad for Lizzie when you were told that your stories weren't important, because
me too.
That was what I traded on, you know, whether it was, I mean, when I was younger, it was gossip. As I got older, it was life experience.
See, I never gossiped, but my mum told me I could, well, this is not, by the way, PC anymore, but she's like, you could sell ice to Eskimos.
I got told that as well.
She's like, you wouldn't take no for an answer. If you weren't going to end up as a lawyer, yeah, I could sell anything to anyone through stories.
But I think that's the thing. It's like, I think people they really underestimate the power of stories, because we're brought up on them, you know.
Yeah. When you flick through a photo book, well, I still do photo books because it's just the 1 year occasion thing for us. But now that my kids live in a different country, like if we go back, you know, a few, and they're like, oh, I remember blah, blah, blah. And oh, this person, da, da, da. Like there's a story attached to each of those. Or there's an experience, you know, one of the kids the other day, oh no, today, on the way walking to school, the smell of sunscreen. Oh, Mum, this reminds me when we were down the front creek. That's an episode of Bluey too. Yeah, like the front creek. I was like, and we did X, Y, and Z, and I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, I love this. I love like memories and them becoming stronger. But that's, I think, people who live, and I want to say an exuberant life, are always seen as a little different. And for us people pleasers, reformed people pleasers, even, like, you know, it's breaking the rules to become that exuberant person with all those stories, because so many of us were taught to stay within the lines.
Yeah. And it makes me sad, because the 1% that seem to have their shit together, who are colouring outside the lines, who are making all the money, it still kind of creates that chasm between the rest of us.
I'm just gonna say, because you said money, my favorite people in this world aren't always rich. My favorite people, like, there was a guy, we went to a Taylor Swift tribute show, must have been a couple of months ago. I was like practically the only mum dancing. I was sweaty, it was gross. And then I turned around, I think 3/4 of the way through, and there's this dad, full pink sequined hat and all, and he was boobieing. Big Scottish beard, he was a big guy, like tall, not robust, but tall. And I was just like, awesome, cool. He's like totally outside the lines. Like, there's so many mums standing near the front with their arms crossed, monitoring their children. And I'm like, really? Like, we're at a concert. Like, what do you do at a concert? I'm like, this is the first thing I've gone out to since pretty much living here, because not much comes to where we live. It's the Highlands. Yeah. I'm like, this is a night out. I'm wearing sequin dresses. I really was. I even had diamonds on my face. I danced and I was just like, I slowly accumulated a few willing to join me by the end of the show, but the amount of people was just like, you know what, mum goals right there. And I was like, are you kidding me? Just, why don't you like choose to enjoy? Like, what is actually stopping you from like busting a move right now? If I can be the weird one doing the weird stuff, and that guy at the back there, oh my God, like, turns out his wife had a beautiful tiara thing, which actually had fairy lights in it. And I was like, this is great.
Oh, there are your people.
Those are my people. I'm like, goals. Like, I want that. Like, I thought I was being a little bit extra, but I was having a great time. They were being extra too. But I want more of that in my life. Those people, the ones who choose to wear bright colors to a funeral. I know it's not PC, but if I remember getting told, it was my grandmother's funeral, and I wore a necklace. It was like a piece of leather with like wooden beads that my mum had made. And I was like, oh, it's like a piece of my mum, and it's so I was the eldest, my mum was the eldest, and then my gran.
Yeah.
And I got told to take it off because it looked like cheap rubbish.
What?
I was like, my mum, like, from one of my aunties, I think it was. And I was like, mum made this. She's like, no, she'd hate it. Like, your grandma would hate it because it looks like, rubbish, because it's not silver, it's not shiny. It's like, I was like, oh, that's like, okay.
Did you take it off?
I did take it off. I was like 12. I thought I was doing a kind gesture, like the old lady lineage of like my mother on my neck, and like, yeah, you know, no. It's again judgment. No, it looks like cheap rubbish. Okay, then, not following the rules. Shit, I've never done a funeral. Actually, I had done funerals before, but I was older. But yeah.
Yeah.
We want colorful people. We want people with colorful experiences.
We want them to live shamelessly, not in shame.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. I think I work with people one-on-one using CBT, and spiritual kind of practices, I guess, or techniques. I wouldn't say techniques, but mythology probably would be the better way. And I get to experience incredibly colorful people, and I'm like, please know that there's more people like you, and please know that the more you express yourself, more people will join you in your like quest. Because as soon as you start shining just that little bit, yes, there are still going to be the people who will judge us. But when you can like let go of the fact that that's their stuff and that you don't need to take it on.
Yeah.
If I had have known that as a 25-year-old, I would have handled that situation completely differently, and many other after that.
Yeah,
it's their stuff.
Wonderful to know, isn't it? I wish I'd known. I mean, a lot of my 20s were, rather than deal with it, I would hide behind alcohol and blackouts and pretend like I didn't know a lot of my behavior.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the world we live in, isn't it? It's like you're trying to navigate a world that doesn't always, well, we don't always fit in it anymore, and I think that's all right.
I think as I talk with a lot of people, it's having an acceptance of self and an acceptance of others, and the people that you surround yourself with are the ones that should bring you the most joy and lift you up.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they actually don't belong in your world. So I have like, here's a really good exercise if someone wants to do an exercise today, and it's really good for people pleasers, is I want you to draw like a circle, probably the size of like a 10p. In there, oh, so it's probably too small. Let's go 50p size. Let's start there. 50p size. We all have our inner circle, the people that we trust the most. In that circle should only be like max 1 to 5 people. Now, I'm going to be honest, like I've only got 3 people that live in that circle. They're the ones that I would trust with my life. 3. That is it. The next circle out is your friends and family. Now, that doesn't mean it needs to be 50-50. These are the people you would invite over for a pizza night, a glass of wine, can talk to you for hours, but also share some of your insights and experiences with. You actually want to invest in that relationship because you enjoy their company and you like being around them, and they give you that magic back. Friends and family. The next circle out, so a bigger circle, much bigger. Oh, friends and family, you're looking at maybe about 10 to 20 people in that circle. The next one out is your acquaintances. That could be up to like 50 to 75 people in there. Like,
yeah,
you know, in Australia, I tell this story quite often to my clients. I would go to the post office. I'd see Sue, the post office lady. Hey, Sue, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, cool. Like, love the weather. Excellent. Da, da, da. She was an acquaintance. Love Sue. Could chat with her. No problems.
Yeah.
Sue ain't coming over for a barbecue on a Friday. Yeah. Okay. That is the difference between an acquaintance and somebody who matters in your world. Everyone else who falls out of that acquaintance circle is like not even worth investing your time in. Sometimes you put people out there and like, I'm done with that person. I don't want to ever have that person again. Or some people, you know, fade away to that space. And the thing is, you can decide where somebody is in your circles at any given moment. So a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know how to make friends. I don't know how to find my people. I'm like, well, they start as an acquaintance. You have to invite them into the circle first. And that might mean going for a pizza, a cup of coffee. It could be, I don't know, a walk, whatever it is. Now, usually I'd suggest 3 or so times. Sometimes, you know, just instantly, oh, no, one and done. Like, nice person, I'll put them back in the acquaintance bucket. you know, and that's okay. And I think for people pleasers, when we actually look at who we're trying to please, which circle are they actually in? Because
That's such a good tip.
Yeah.
I personally needed to hear that today. So I'm pretty sure the listeners will be wanting to hear this.
Well, if your boss is in your acquaintance zone,
yeah,
why are you investing so much of your personal energy making them happy? And to a point, yes, do a great job. I'm a hard worker. Like, I will always do a great job to the best of my ability, but I also know my limits, i.e. it's 5 o'clock now, I've got to go pick up my kids or whatever it is. You know, it's like about limits. And that's the thing too. Like, our inner circle people, we do care because we've made the effort to build a relationship, but it's usually built on a lot of trust, a lot of life experience.
Yeah.
Like, our inner circle people have usually been with us for a lot longer. The friends and family circle may fluctuate a little bit, but if we actually looked at our lives and we're like, oh, yeah, I've probably got about, I don't know, I'd probably say like 12 or 15 for me in my friends and family where like I actually want to hang out with you. But I'm choosing that I want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Because if I can't have a pizza and a lime with you around a fire in like rainy Scotland, you can't handle that. Well, I'm sorry.
You show me your view now. I'm already coming.
I won't tell you what I'm doing for summer solstice then. But yeah, it's a really great exercise. And for all people pleasers, for anyone who is worrying about what other people think, like, where are they in your life? Is it worth you worrying about what they think of you?
Oh, love that. I think that's a really good point to wrap us up today, because I think we could talk for ages.
Yeah.
And we probably will after I stop recording. But thank you so much for coming on today on the Shameless Stories podcast, Lizzie. Where can people find you?
Come and follow me on Instagram. You'll find me at Lizzie_Moult, Moult. If you love the Scottish Highlands, I do post lots of reels of me now wearing dresses on top of the Munros, because I'm like, if you're going to be extra, you may as well be super extra.
Yes, 100%. I can't wait to hug you up in London this time, not Birmingham.
Me either. It's not long now. It's like exactly 4 weeks. I'm like, yes.
So I will be putting all the details of how you can find Lizzie in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a long time coming, and I needed to hear everything that you said today. So thank you again for sharing.
Thank you so much for having me. And I'm talking over the top of you. Sorry, Sarah, but thank you.
That's all right. It's fine. Anything goes. Anyway, I will see you in a week, everybody. And thanks for coming on.